Thank you, Madam Speaker. It is my privilege to rise in support of ACR 170 and to remember or to acknowledge the story of an inspiring Californian and survivor, Yetta Kane. Yetta was born in December 1932 in a close-knit rural Jewish community of Miedzol, Poland, a town that now sits in modern-day Belarus. The home was always filled with lots of food and lots of love. They had a working farm. Their father ran a dry goods store out of the family's home. They were an observant household, and life centered around the cadence of Jewish holidays and family. Yetta explained, "I was 8 years old when hatred came out of its ugly head. My first introduction was when a Jewish man walking back from temple, and I still remember his name, Chaim Minkus, was walking by. A little girl, my neighbor, said Zayde in Polish, which means Jew. And without the blink of an eye, a German soldier pulled out a revolver and shot him dead. That was my introduction to the Nazis. Not long after, the Nazis armed local Polish collaborators with guns and trucks and gave them a bounty to murder as many Jews as possible. These people, who had lived peacefully with their Jewish neighbors, invited the Jewish leaders to a meeting to discuss the Nazi situation and how they could work together to address it. Instead of a town hall, the Jews were forced at gunpoint to dig mass graves. Over 60 of Miedzol's Jewish leaders were murdered that night. Yetta's father was supposed to be among them. When he received the invitation to the meeting, he told his family that something seemed off and they had to go hide in the woods. The family fled with nothing but the clothes on their back. They headed east and joined the Jewish resistance, and as a child of 8, Yetta bravely completed numerous missions on behalf of the Jewish resistance. Their family survived in the woods for 2 years, making their way east and narrowly escaping the Nazi grasp. They endured freezing conditions and persistent hunger. Eventually, the family made their way to the Russian front and survived the war in a work camp in Siberia. After the war, Yetta's family moved here to Los Angeles. She married David Kane, a fellow Holocaust survivor from Poland who served as the cantor of Temple Beth Shalom in Long Beach for nearly 50 years. Yetta, an original working mom, owned and operated board and care homes. Starting in the 1990s, Yetta and David dedicated themselves to sharing the story of their survival. Together, they wrote a book, How You Can Survive Anything, and they gave testimony to the United States Holocaust Memorial Museum and the Shoah Foundation, and spoke before hundreds of school-aged children every year. Yetta has made it her life's mission to educate young people about the Holocaust and has spoken to diverse audiences about the dangers and hate and violence and the power of forgiveness. And we are reminded today of a quote of hers, "If you carry hate in your heart, your life gets poisoned." Thank you, Madam Speaker.